Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And another film which I've really been meaning to watch ever since I saw the trailer a few weeks ago is The Iron Claw, which is a 2023 wrestling sports biographical drama film based around the Von Erich family. And I used to be a big wrestling fan. My connection with wrestling is from the time of my birth. When I was in a cradle, I used to watch wrestling because it was always on in my family. My dad is a big wrestling fan, or I should say my dad used to be a big wrestling fan. I don't think he's watched wrestling that much in the last 20 years or so. I used to watch a lot of wrestling with him, with my sister, with my uncles. A lot of my uncles are wrestling fans. A lot of my cousins were wrestling fans as well. I don't think anybody watches wrestling in my family anymore. I stopped watching wrestling in 2007. Ever since the Chris Benoit incident, it's soured the sport for me. And I do, from time to time, like to go to YouTube and watch some of the classic matches, especially of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And once in a while, I'll go and check the Wikipedia pages of some of those wrestlers to see what they're doing now, maybe every 6 months or so. And so I've got a lot of fond memories of wrestling, but I haven't watched it since 2007, almost 14 years back. 13, 14 years back, whatever it is. So anyway, I do remember one of the wrestlers in this Von Erich family, and that's the only one who actually went to the WWF. That's Kerry Von Erich, who at one time was known as the Texas Tornado, and he was the Intercontinental Champion at one point. I do remember watching maybe 3 or 4 of his matches. So the Von Erich family is basically the father of Fritz Von Erich. He's the one who actually started the Iron Claw in-ring finishing move, but basically this is what the Iron Claw is. But of course, much bigger head. So in the movie, you've got Zac Efron starring as Kevin Von Erich. You've got Jeremy Allen White playing Kerry Von Erich. Harrison Dixon, Maura Tierney, Stanley Simmons, Holt McKinley, who plays the father, and Lily James, who plays Kevin Von Erich's wife in the movie. So this is the main. I think the things you need to know about like I mentioned, it's based on the true life of these wrestlers, but they made one big change because a lot of things are depressing about this film, about the story. They actually removed one of the brothers. So it was actually 6 brothers. The first one, Jack, the oldest, he was electrocuted at the age of 4 and he died. The second eldest is Kevin. Then it's David, Kerry, and in the movie, Mike is the youngest, but they actually have one more younger brother whose name is Chris. And I believe Chris actually also did go to the WWE, but I don't remember him. So because of the fact that several of them have passed away, and including committing suicide, the producers decided to combine the stories of Mike and Chris and make it one person as Chris, who was pretty young and he was an aspiring musician, but his father pushed him towards the wrestling business. So yeah, that's basically what the movie's all about. If you want these stories, I'm not going to go through the entire storyline with you, but like I mentioned, David, the third brother, he died because of an illness. Kerry committed suicide. I didn't know this, by the way. Kerry Von Erich committed suicide in... So he was actually a Olympic hopeful, but because in 1980 the US boycotted the Russian Olympics, so therefore he decided to go back with his family and then join the family business. So he committed suicide in 1993, just after turning 33 years old. I didn't know this. Texas Tornado. I don't remember much, but yeah, I do remember watching it. Chris committed suicide in the movie. I'll have to go and check back and see whether that's actually true. Um, he he had an accident when he was temporarily in a coma, and because of that, there was a lot of brain damage. And when his father wanted to push him back into wrestling, he took his own life. In real life, Chris was another one. Was the youngest brother. He was named as Chris von Eyrick of the von Eyrick family. Their actual name was Atkinson, by the way, but they took the name of von Eyrick. And he was actually pretty small, built for a wrestler, so that was one of the problems that he had. Did he get to WWE? No, he didn't get to WWE. He also committed suicide. So, three wrestlers in the family, three brothers having committed suicide. That's why they decided to combine the story, is what I read. Very tragic story about them. So it's basically how, like the story is centered around Kevin. Kevin is the only one who's still alive. He was the one when the WWE did induct the entire family into the Hall of Fame. So he was the only one who was actually there. I think he really misses his brothers. He's the one who's been stable. He took over the family business. The WCC wrestling company, which is the World Class Championship Wrestling, was owned by his father at one point. And then when his father decided to retire from the business, he gave it to his son. And so he sold it, I believe, at one point. And now Kevin, his wife, and his sons are into wrestling as well. So hopefully they would do the same things that his brother did. But he and his wife own a retail, not retail, I think a real estate kind of like business, and they live in Hawaii. So at least his life is way better. So that's about the story about Iron Claw. It's a very good film. I think if you're a wrestling fan, I think you should definitely watch this movie. I really enjoyed watching it. Even the music is great, by the way. The music has got rock songs from the 80s, mostly from the 80s, and it prominently features one of my favorite songs from my favorite band, Rush. Tom Sawyer is featured in one of these. The entire song is featured in several of the scenes. It was made on a budget of $15.9 million. It made $43.2 million at the box office. But yeah, you do have streaming and all that. It's available on Amazon Video Prime, on Amazon Prime Video. You have Chavo Guerrero Jr. is a wrestler who I know, playing the Sheikh. Anybody else in this movie that I kind of know? No, that's about it. Really good performances by Zac Efron. He's trying to move more into the serious side of things, and that's actually good because this, as well as the movie that he plays as a serial killer, is pretty good. Jeremy Allen White as Kerry Von Erich is pretty good, to be honest, in this film. I think they all do a really good job. Paul McKinley, I don't know where I know this guy from, but I have seen this guy in a few movies, I guess so. I'm not really sure where I've seen him before. Oh yeah, he was in Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. Probably some other films as well. So yeah, I highly recommend this movie, even if you're not really a wrestling fan or have never been into wrestling. I think you should watch this movie. It's a really good film to watch. So I give it a 8 out of 10. Very interesting movie to watch. Take care, guys. Have a good night.